मास्क उतारो जी में आप सबका स्वागत है। और आज मेरे साथ हैं समीर जी। दो समीर हैं, एक जो नीचे बैठे हैं वो आई थिंक फोन पे जूम कर रहे हैं, कि वो लैपटॉप पे कर रहे हैं। सोनिया जी भी फोन पे हैं, माया जी भी फोन पे हैं अपने, तो इसलिए थोड़ा सा नैरो आ रहा है इनका स्क्रीन। इट्स ओके। मैं और समीर जब वो ये ब्रॉड स्क्रीन वाले और मैं समीर दिख रहे हैं, वो बहुत काफी है। आज हम बात कर रहे हैं कि हम ये नहीं कह रहे कि हम मोदी जी को वोट नहीं देंगे, पर हमारी सर्टेन एक्सपेक्टेशंस थी और हमने मोदी जी को वोट दिया है। और हमारी मेन आज का मुद्दा ये है कि किस तरीके से आईटी सेल वाले जिस तरीके से मोदी जी के सपोर्टर्स को क्वेश्चन करने पे कितना क्या क्या बोलते हैं, उसके बारे में हम सुनेंगे। तो समीर नंबर 1 जो ऊपर बैठे हैं, समीर जी आप मुझे बताइए कि जो जब ये लोग कहते हैं कि 303 सीटें जो दी हैं उसका एहसान एहसान मत जताओ, तो वो तो आपने दी हैं डेवलपमेंट के लिए और सबके लिए। मोदी जी ने कहीं प्रॉमिस नहीं किया था कि वो आपको हिंदू हिंदू से रिलेटेड बहुत सारी चीजें देंगे, उसके बारे में बताएं आप।
Okay. So Samir जो ऊपर बैठे is me, is it?
नो इट्स ऊपर।
Okay.
समीर जी बोलिए। समीर मी बेमी बेमी बेमी।
Yep.
Yeah, did you hear my question, Beami?
Yeah.
Please answer.
कि एहसान ना जताएं. So let me start by this that before 2014 we used to see same kind of hubris by Congress supporters. संजय झा टाइम्स नाउ पे आते थे और वो ऐसे जताते थे कि जनता मैटर नहीं करती है. And I know for sure there were people who were fence sitters in my friends who just got angry on Congress because of Sanjay Jha. They said कि अब हम वोट ही नहीं करेंगे कांग्रेस को क्योंकि संजय झा हमें दिखाते रहता है कि हम तुच्छ हैं, हमारी कोई वैल्यू नहीं है. यही चीज एट दिस मोमेंट होल आईटी सेल एंड लॉट ऑफ मोदी जी के सपोर्टर्स आर डूइंग एग्जैक्टली व्हाट दे आर डूइंग. लॉट ऑफ पीपल वांट टू स्टैंड विथ मोदी जी. दे फील द टास्क इज टू टफ, but they are also angered by the humiliation their supporters are facing every day. Modi ji keeps telling hum pradhan sevak hain, but what happens? These supporters come out and coronate him like a king. We are not in a monarchy, right? We are in a democracy. And Modi ji jo ideals pe believe karte hain, this IT cells, they are actually they feel that they have a lot of supporters on the Twitter and they are misusing it. I don't think it is going to the top level or anywhere, but it is in a way victim shaming ho rahi hai. If Hindus are being victim of Islamic terror or any kind of thing, they are being guilt tripped that you didn't vote for BJP in that state and that's why you deserve to have this treatment. Nobody is going to vote for Modi if this is their representation. If these people are representing him and not only instead of empathizing, sympathizing and also raising the voice, they are blaming the people who have lost their life, who have lost their family members, who have lost their livelihood, other things. This is in a way more humiliating, more disrespectful than what Congress have done in the past. This is going to affect him because I see if they can have a techie who can crawl the Twitter timeline and they can find out the words what people are writing. IT cell and negative connotation with it is the key feature. If BJP leadership can't see that they have Amit Malviya who came into TV show and said few deaths are not important for Modi ji to tweet. Where is he is head of IT cell. Nobody is going to he's spokesperson of BJP in a way on the IT platform, and he's saying those kind of things on national debates, and they troll people who are voters of BJP. I have traveled overseas to vote for Modi ji, but looking at that type of things, I am not going to vote again if this continues like that. But that's and why we care about it, because we don't want Congress back, so we are scared. But the people who are doing all this for small term gain, followers, money, whatever they are getting, their vested interest, they are doing this. They don't care what is going to happen later on. They will just switch sides like Priyanka Chaturvedi and they will do IT cell things for those parties.
Okay. But do you see an option? If not BJP, we don't have options, so we have to vote Modi. So is that why they're neglecting us more?
Yeah, so let me add this to there, and this always, so society also behaves like an individual. A society collectively behaves like an individual. So now people will not vote for Congress, but they will vote against BJP. The anger will make, and it will accumulate towards vote towards Congress. That's what is always there. You know, people think that it is, अगर हम नहीं है तो किसी और को क्या वोट देंगे, नहीं, वो आपके खिलाफ वोट देंगे, नोटा देंगे या कुछ और देंगे, and that's how you get out of the party. Why Atal Bihari Vajpayee lost the election after doing so many things actually, golden quadrilateral to lot of developmental things, yeah, BJP government paved the base for a debt-free economy. Later on, when Manmohan Singh came, there was a global recession going on in 2009, 2010, if people know about it. And still Indian economy was doing good, which IT cell at this current moment doesn't know because they got awoken at 2014. Manmohan Singh government was doing good in a peak recession, worse recession than this. The reason was foundation laid by Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government till 2004. But that government was doing better than the rest of the world because of those economic foundations. But that didn't save the government because people were angry. What happened? Pramod Mahajan started this India Shining campaign, forgot Hindutva, for which people voted. They got rid of Kalyan Singh, they got rid of all the Hindutva leaders and everything. And even Atal Bihari Vajpayee came out and he was in a way giving a intention that he will fire Modi from BJP Gujarat CM post. That also came out. They were midway between Hindutva and secularism. They couldn't take a shot. Advani persuaded, and that's why Modi stayed as a CM. But that didn't go well with a lot of people. They lost completely in UP. They lost completely from where the power, they got into the power. So people voted against BJP. They didn't vote for Sonia Gandhi. They didn't. They didn't vote for Manmohan Singh. They voted against BJP, and that can happen again. Nobody is too big to fall, and that's, people have to understand. They can.
So now next question is from Sameer to you, or Sameer has something to add, please add.
Well, I want to add something here, and it's very interesting what happened in UP elections. This was the first election after Ram Mandir verdict or whatever, right? And BJP actually got lesser seats compared to last time. And I know one of the reasons was that this time at least all the opposition parties in UP, they all united and they said, we are not going to let the votes get divided. Let Samajwadi take the lead. And yeah, that helped Samajwadi party to some extent. But that also shows that people are not stupid. Mandate is not stupid. Reading the mandate is where the challenge is. And I think BJP is not reading its mandate right. I say it again, that BJP has been voted to power because that whole cycle of Muslim appeasement has gone full circle, and that's why Hindu votes were very clear that, it's about time we unite. Otherwise, even if we are already a second grade citizen in this country, we'll become fourth grade. So Hindu votes started consolidating. So one of the things which someone said in the space actually makes sense. It's not that BJP is there. Any party which would have taken that consolidated votes of Hindus at this stage would have come to power, because the entire opposition was focusing only on the appeasement policies for the minorities. And BJP has come into power, and now BJP is doing the same thing which the opposition was doing. People are not stupid. Political parties can read it wrong, and I think BJP is reading it wrong there. This has happened at the time of Nupur Sharma. This happened again today for D. Raja. Tiger Raja is someone, उसने सनातन के लिए जितना काम किया है उतना आदि बीजेपी ने नहीं किया होगा. बिल्कुल. There is a reason कि हैदराबाद जैसी जगह में he has been able to consolidate the Hindu votes and bring them to a level where it is today. If Nadda ji thinks Nadda ji has been able to deliver it, he is in for a rude shock.
I'll add one thing. If
Yeah.
same leadership was in BJP when Yogi Adityanath was MP of Gorakhpur, they wouldn't have let Yogi Adityanath flourish. The same situation. Gorakhpur is the key area for ISI because of the Nepal proximity and lot of jihadis around that area. Yogi Adityanath had his Yuva Vahini, and he was having such statements out every now and then, a single flag of Sanatan flying in that area. And that was the reason for the throttling up of Yogi in there. If Nadda, Modi, and Shah, they all three were the party powerhouse at that time, Yogi would have been crushed too, and we wouldn't have found another generation great leader in there. So people have to understand that this has been happening since some time, and this leadership is behaving like Congress High Commission, how
And
they used to be.
Maya, आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे? आप कोई क्वेश्चन पूछेंगे या कुछ you'll add to it, whatever, both things you can do.
मेरा क्वेश्चन एक ही है. See, I'm not so close to BJP's politics. I come as an outsider. मैंने जितना भी देखा है about BJP just suddenly, gets Modi in and everything changes, which was for me, someone who was an outsider, was exceptional, and almost like every element was created. Perfect marketing, jaise hota na, plan, everything is all set. But how can, after creating such a lot of hard work, suddenly you see that they just want to drop every ball? It is not possible. There is something which is, it's too loud to be put aside. Ke, nahi, ye aisa nahi tha, waisa tha. And look at the excuses that we listen to. Do you think this excuse will be entertained? So childish, the way things are handled, and they are so important. We do not see any clarity in communication, and there is explanation coming from social media handles. Every time there's an official or any policy statement, it is not explained. It is just like something which is a wrongly typed, erroneous, ambiguous statement, and then it is explained by someone who's not connected with the party, doesn't have official position, but he will tell, you're too dumb, you didn't understand it. And it keeps happening over and over again. So I today, of course, whatever I think BME has said, it's like a crash course for me, because I don't know all these things. I come from a media background where I was amongst the leftists, and I think Samir said it earlier, it has been a personal loss. You cannot say anything, and now you are coming to this side where you feel you have, almost spent, you're in the middle of somewhere, and now you want to tell them, listen, we expect this. They say, just don't talk. You don't know anything. So I feel that they need to be more open for feedback if they really feel they have to work with this existing voter base. But I have a question, for Dear and Samir and Payalji, because you're in Delhi. Sonia, even you can think about it. See, the demographics are changing. And if you look at the kind of next 20 years, 30 years are going to be, my question is, do you think that BJP has figured out that our voter base is going to shrink eventually? And that's why Nadda, JP Nadda, he has gone ahead and said कि हम ये उनके मन मतलब हृदय परिवर्तन या उनका मन जीतना चाहेंगे, क्योंकि आज नहीं तो परसों, परसों नहीं तो उसके बाद, 5 साल नहीं, 10 साल नहीं, 20 साल बाद ये हमें ही वोट देंगे. So that answers, I think, a lot. And I didn't want to say this in the spaces a little earlier, because but this is very painful, So then what happens is that any hope for alternative should be seeded now. It cannot happen 20 years later. That will be too late.
I think this is not that they have figured out the demography. I would say why, because in 1999, when they came to power till 2003, they had same approach. They started train, they subsidized Hajj. So in 1999 to 2003, they were doing. So the problem here is, I think this is internalized to Hindus, and also it comes to leadership and others. Hindus, like you will see in Twitter and other places, and it gives you idea how Hindus think. So people demanding fair treatment for Hindus, lot of Hindus who support BJP are writing that BJP didn't came here to implement Hindu Rashtra.
Yes,
Fair
agree.
treatment to Hindus doesn't mean Hindu Rashtra, right? It is constitutional guarantee of Hindus. The problem is a very aware Hindu also feels somehow diminished inside. He feels guilty of asserting his own religion. Meanwhile, others are asserting their own religion on top of them. Similar thing is happening in BJP. They know that this broader sense of Hindus which have been voting Congress, they want that chunk of people. They are not thinking they are going to get Muslims in the board. They are actually trying to get a wider population of centrist Hindus to vote for them. And that is because Hindutva wave that comes in cycles. People get aware, disillusioned with the secularist parties and this, they start voting in mass, like that happened in late 90s. Then after that, disillusion happened, and then people start going to default centrist policies. BJP figured it out. So Modi ji goes in elections, he goes and talks about Hindutva, elections only, election rallies. Then his party whole altogether implements Congress policies, which is centrist culturally, centrist economically, so that they can, appeal to the broader Hindu population that will default and fall back on them. And that's what I believe, that they are appealing to that. They want to be the major centrist party over here.
Yeah, Sameer. हाँ समीर आप बोलिए.
Yeah, okay. So my answer to that is very simple. I believe that could be a reason that they're seeing they're reading the demographics and they're course correcting. And I think going forward, what BJP is trying to do is that across religions, they're trying to create a nationalistic fervor, and whoever is nationalist, whether he's a Hindu or a Muslim or whoever, BJP would like to have them as a core voter bank in the long run, rather than having right-wingers, Hindus as their core voter bank. Because if Muslims and Christians and others, their population is increasing at a faster rate, then it's better for BJP to slice out the nationalistic Muslims or nationalistic Christians and add them to their voter base. Even if that means that some of the right-wing Kattar Hindus do not vote to BJP going forward, I think BJP is willing to take that risk. So that could be one course correction which they're trying to do over a long run, because they have a fair legacy to it. Abul Kalam Azad and all. So BJP has something to show as well, right? In terms of that, so they might go in for that kind of electoral engineering, if I may use that word or use that phrase. So is that a possibility? Yes. But that also means जो कट्टर Hindu हैं, who actually have been supporting BJP for Hindutva reason, I think they're in for a root shock going forward, because A, they do not have any other alternative as things stand today, and B, the only alternative or the only wagon which they are sitting on, they're going to get pushed out of that wagon soon, because the wagon is going to take a different direction. When they want the wagon to go north, it might actually end up going west or south, right? So that's a phenomenon which I'm looking at.
अच्छा मेरे को एक और चीज देखनी थी. मैंने ये जो सो कॉल्ड बीजेपी की आईटी सेल है, या सो कॉल्ड ये कई लोग हैं जिनको मोदी जी फॉलो कर रहे हैं, तो वो ना आके कोई ऐसी ऐसी प्यारी प्यारी बातें करते हैं फॉर मोदी जी एंड फॉर बीजेपी, एंड राइट बात करते हैं, जिससे कि वो मैसेज वहां भी जा रहा है मोदी जी को. और कहीं कहीं मुझे लगता है ये लोग पोजीशन चाहते हैं, पावर चाहते हैं, मनी चाहते हैं. जैसे ये बहुत बार ये भी बोल जाते हैं, जैसे वो कहते हैं कि तुम जैसे हिंदू ही तो हैं जिनके ऊपर मोदी जी भरोसा नहीं कर सकते. एक तरफ से आप कह रहे हो कि हम हिंदू पार्टी नहीं है, और दूसरी तरफ से कह रही है तुम लोग के जैसे हिंदू धोखा दे जाएंगे मोदी जी को. तो मतलब वी आर कंफ्यूज और द पार्टी इज कंफ्यूज, और व्हाट इज हैपनिंग?
Let me quickly answer this question, because I think it's a very interesting. It's a very, very interesting question. I think the voter is confused right now. Voter thinks BJP is a Hindu party. BJP knows it's not a Hindu party, it's a nationalistic party. Because that is the direction BJP is taking. And that's the reason why you would see Nadda ji and others saying that Bhagwa or BJP, let's.
का कोई
there's a
लेना देना नहीं है भगवा का
I mean,
BJP.
I mean, I'm just trying to read between the lines. The direction which they're trying to take is actually nationalistic and not on religious lines. And that's why I say that those who voted BJP for religious reasons are in for a shock.
You are exactly, like, you are very right on this one, that BJP thinking that nationalism they are going to get. There is one doubt which is going to hit them back really bad, because they have not, I think, people read history but they don't get right inferences from it. First of all, Islam in nature is not a nationalistic fervor, inducing religion. It will never. People will be more loyal to Islam over, any country in the world. This is a reality, because they are not bound to go away against it unless and until there is a new reform in Islam which changes that. They will not go around it. This BJP and RSS attempt for some time is going to bomb on their faces, because they, unless and until they go with full throttle Muslim appeasement, they are not going to get Muslim vote. Even then, it will take time for Muslims to trust them, that they will only talk about Islamic hegemony then only, because the nature of the religion is in that essence, like, hegemony. Because you can see any country, look at what is happening in the in Britain. What is happening? Whole police system, the administrative system, they all have bowed down to Pakistani and Middle Eastern Muslims who have taken citizenship over there. The police can't do anything. They go on the streets and shout on white people, go back. They do that. So this is the future which BJP is envisioning in a way, because they don't learn from, any sort of history. I'm telling you, if the whole BJP leadership converts to Islam, probably they will get votes. If they don't, they are not going to get votes, but they will lose this one.
Well,
आपका क्या कहना है इसमें, Maya? What will you say about it?
I know. No. So I'm not trying to be not a gentleman here, but I just want to say one last thing to bear me before Maya takes over. Bear me, you have to understand one thing. So far in India, for a Muslim to be nationalistic, there was hardly any reward for a Muslim to be nationalistic. Government was not rewarding them for that. In fact, government was rewarding, all the past governments, Congress or whoever, have been rewarding Muslims or the religious factions of the Muslims, because they could always see that these are the guys who deliver votes for them. So there was no reward for a Muslim to stay nationalistic as well. I have Muslim friends, by the way, who are fairly nationalistic, and they love BJP for that reason only. So I know that there's an undercurrent right now in terms of carving that out. We'll see whether BJP actually succeeds or not.
But
I'm not
I have a counter question for you. No, sir, bear me for 1 second. Sameer said he has certain Muslim nationalist friends. पर तुमने उनसे कभी बात की है सर तन से जुदा होने वाले जो इंसिडेंट्स हुए कन्हैया कुमार?
Yes.
तो क्या उन्होंने बात करने के बाद बट या परंतु लगाया है सेंटेंस के बाद?
नहीं, वो ये बोलते हैं कि इंडिया में इसका कोई there is no place for this. They are the ones who have told me कि इंडिया में IPC 506 है. We don't understand why police does not arrest people who say it openly. मुझे नहीं पता था. So I mean,
let me add one thing, Sameer ji. आपने बहुत सही बोला कि nationalist लोगों को there is no reward for nationalist Muslims. Let me say that current BJP is not rewarding nationalist Muslims. They are rewarding street thugs who are using street power to go against the law, and that is being happening since Congress time. So nothing has changed. And then another factor that comes in, suppose Islam was internal religion to India, and there were some imams who would say something, and then whole Muslim community starts following it. If it was there, this strategy could have any chance of holding water. The problem is, if there is no reform in Islam from outside to have those kind of things, no changes are going to happen. Few people will do that, they will be murdered on the street if they raise their voice. This is going to, they immediately, Rana Ayub has been their supporter since so long. She sent a small tweet for Salman Rushdie. What happened to her? These people will be lynched by the Muslim mob. So I don't know which Lala land BJP lives in, because whoever the policy makers are, this rewarding nationalist, how many? You are losing. So they, and then another point comes in, nationalism doesn't come with a lot of, lot of caveats, which BJP is putting in the moment. So lot of caveats are, nationalism stems from national pride. What they did in Qatar's issue is not nationalistic. First, it was never nationalistic in that. Then second, when they started, when there was this issue of China, Galwan and other issues, they started taking strong stance recently. They have started, and that too, I think, on the paper. But in reality, when China took over, there were a lot of BJP handles. They were telling China is too big country to fight. Nationalism doesn't come with caveats. Demography is part of nationalism, and I think that's where BJP has, will lose out on the voters.
इवन आरएसएस में इन्होंने जो आरएसएस की एक जमात बना रखी है, इसमें जिसमें मुस्लिम्स को भी इन्होंने ऐड किया है. जब ये सर तन से जुदा चीज हुई थी, तो वो आरएसएस की विंग ने भी, जो मुस्लिम विंग थी, उन्होंने सर तन से जुदा होने वालों का ही साइड लिया था. So if we're living, like he said, we're living in a la-la land and some illusionary world, that they will not stand with their religion, they will stand with the nation. ये तो माया, आप क्या कहोगे? माया, आप क्या कहोगे?
Maya.
Hello.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? I just feel that in this situation right now, I don't see them learning from past. ये सारी बातें पहले भी हो चुकी हैं, कितने बार तो बता दिया था. कितने अपने 1919 खिलाफत से लेके आज तक वही बातें रिपीट हो रही हैं. I think what Samir said, Samir, buying out, trying to, this is a history, स्कूल की हिस्ट्री है, ज्यादा दूर नहीं है, बच्चों को पढ़ाते हैं तो याद रहता है. खिलाफत के लिए क्या बोला था कि आप मान जाइए हमारे साथ, फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल हम इकट्ठा फाइट करेंगे तो अच्छा असर पड़ेगा. What did they say? No, we will not. You give us support. The Hindus should support in all aspects. Okay, manpower, पैसा, सब कुछ आपकी, जितना भी support backing लगता है आप दीजिए for खिलाफत. Then we will join the freedom struggle. आप ऐसे negotiate नहीं कर सकते हो. And if you are buying patriotism, then it is just enough for a particular time. एक phase होता है, उसके बाद जब आपके वो फेज चला जाएगा, तब बिल्कुल वही ट्रेजेक्टरी चलती रहेगी. 100 साल आप ये बातें नहीं करेंगे शायद. maybe your children or their children will talk and they will look at the older books and the books after that and they will say, oh my god, this already happened. So it's a loop. If somebody wants to break the loop, I think Constantinople के बाद का जो फेज था, जो I think Beard spoke about it. So I think in that sense, it's a lot of hard work which nobody wants to do. The easier path is to make peace by telling the tolerant community to be quiet, to be more tolerant, to accept it as a faith that you are in a situation where secularism means and democracy means that आपके प्रार्थना स्थल का tax, आपकी सारी donations हम डोल्स बना के intolerant community को देंगे, और आपके लिए जब आपके ऊपर आघात होता है, जेनोसाइड होता है, तो आपके लिए लेटर हेड तक ये मठ, ये मंदिर, संस्थाएं नहीं देंगी. इफ्तारी का माहौल बना रहेगा, सब कुछ होगा, लेकिन आपके वक्त अगर आपको लगता है कि आपके लिए कोई बोलेगा तो वो होने वाला नहीं है, बिकॉज वहां पे IAS ऑफिसर बैठता है जो गवर्नमेंट अपॉइंटेड है. आपके हिंदुओं के लिए कोई वॉइस नहीं है. तो that is where the situation is, and I think we are talking this for how many years now? 3 साल 4 साल हो गए इस बात को. So I just want to conclude saying that कि if somebody wants any change, it has to be from top to bottom, not bottom. हम ये चिल्लाते रहे, बोलते रहे.
It will be a change from bottom to top, but it will not be same leadership. It won't be same leaders. Whenever the change comes from bottom, the existing ecosystem get dismantled, like what happened to Congress. And this may very well happen if BJP is banking on कि bottom से change आएगा, तो ना मोदी जी power में रहेंगे, ना अमित शाह power में रहेंगे, ना कोई power में रहेगा. People just keep underestimating Hindu voters, which Hindus have shown that they can switch sides completely in 2014. I'm telling you, by statistical any analysis, there was no chance of a single party winning based on the old results to win the elections like that. No divided opposition, nothing could have done it. So it can be.
अच्छा, आप समीर बेअमी, वो दूसरे समीर को नहीं, चुप समीर, बेअमी है. अब सोनिया और आप मुझे कश्मीर के ऊपर बताओ, कश्मीरी पंडित्स पे बताओ कि
पायल जी,
समीर
पहले आप लोग, पायल आप पहले वहां जाएं. मैं एक पॉइंट रेज करना चाहती हूँ और मैं सबका ओपिनियन चाहती हूँ उस पर. बेसिकली आप लोगों ने अभी वोट बैंक का बात किया कि हिंदू होगा फिर मुस्लिम होगा, अपीसमेंट के बाद क्या होगा. बट आप मुझे बोलिए, जो जियो पॉलिटिक्स में हो रहा है, जो ये बॉर्डर एक्सटेंशन की बात हो रही है, जो दूसरे रिफ्यूजीज को लेने की बात हो रही है और उनको यहाँ का सिटीजनशिप देने की बात हो रही है, क्या वो एक वोट बैंक क्रिएट नहीं कर रहा है बीजेपी अपने लिए? So that's why they're not worried about Hindus. What is your take on that, all of you?
Sameer, we can't hear you. Beami, we can't hear you.
Are you talking about the Hindus refugees or the non-Hindu refugees?
Non-Hindus. I'm talking about, see, if we're extending our borders, it's going to come in bulk. It may be anyone. So because the geopolitics we are playing is very different at this level, that's why we are raising an international level, right? So what is your take on that?
I think we are giving too much credit actually to the minds of BJP people, that they are writing a script like Christopher Nolan's movie and doing something very dangerous. I always feel this, Indian leadership for long has been pressurized by the media, by the international community and others, and this government has fallen into that trap. So they keep talking about inclusivity when a system, a party or anything is exclusive in nature. They are already saying it. I feel BJP is doing all this stuff for international plaudits, not get pressurized by the international community. Because if you see, even before this things started, Modi ji in Man Ki Baat bring up the issue of church attacks. He brought it up, church attacks. It was before all this thing has taken precedence. That was because Obama's visit was coming in and he wanted to give a solidarity thing about it. Then Nupur Sharma, the action was coming from Middle East, because recently BJP and especially our government, Modi ji, have gotten a lot of accolades from Middle East. It doesn't come without any loads. In Kashmir, most of the infrastructure building is done by Middle East companies. If people don't know about it, they should know about it. Most of the infrastructure. And remember this, America cannot do anything about China for a long time because of the American investors getting into China and Chinese investors getting into India. Similarly, if Middle Eastern Islamic nations, contractors and other people are invested in India, you can understand what is going to happen next. Kashmir is already a volatile. No country in the world ever gives critical projects to certain risky things, because see, border roads are built by BRO. They are not given to private contractors and others. Same way, it shouldn't have been given. It is being given as dole exchange. People have to understand this is all not a very convoluted thing that they will come in and they will make a new voter base for BJP. BJP can sustain same election victories by holding on to this voter base and also newer voters that are coming into the age. But they are not, because of this all pressure that is coming in, and they are bowing down to those pressures. I feel there is no such very big elaborate plans. They can't think that much. They can't outthink Mani Shankar Iyer and others can you imagine they are out thinking that many years of things outside?
And so now another thing, जो मैं चाहती थी कि सोनिया आपके साथ डिस्कस करे, जो आप सोनिया और आप थोड़ा सा आप ये तो हमें पता व्हाट हैपेंड विद कश्मीरी हिंदूज, उसको एक्सोडस कह लो, जेनोसाइड कह लो, वो जो ऐसी चीज थी वो मतलब दिल दहलाने वाली चीज थी. व्हाट आई वांट टू नो इज दैट सोनिया, यू टेल अस इन ब्रीफ कि क्या कश्मीरी पंडित्स को जो जो बीजेपी गवर्नमेंट ने प्रॉमिस किया था वो मिल रहा है कि नहीं, एंड समीर विल टेल अस कि वो क्यों नहीं मिल रहा है, क्या हो रहा है, उसके बारे में बात. Sonia, we can't hear you. No, we can't hear you.
Now can you hear me?
Yeah.
Gee, you know, we were titled migrants in our own country sabse pehle. And Jagdi is a place in Jammu where we had camps where we were living. Then they started giving us a small amount of money because many of the people in Jammu and Kashmir, they used to work for private firms. So to run their houses, a small amount was given, like 2,000 or 5,000 rupees in the very beginning. And in one tent, like 6 to 7 families used to live. And the camp is still there. People are still living there. The only thing what happened after this is when few of the people who were government employees, chahe wo central government mein ho, chahe state government mein hai, they got the jobs and they were provided with the accommodations. Certain colonies were created in Jammu where these migrants were shifted from tents. The allowances were still going on. They were giving those allowances. Now, after that, they started seeing how many people have got employment. So they deducted them from that list of getting the aids from the government. Again, then comes the point where education, there was a reservation for children in different colleges and universities, but it included Muslims as well. So if you have a reservation for Kashmiris, Kashmiri means Kashmiri Pandits plus Muslims. So a lot of children lost the seats to the same Muslims for the reservation, which was for them basically. Then the government jobs, government promised that they will be providing government jobs. That never happened. Few policies were made by the Congress when they were in power, and the same policies from where it was left, BJP picked them up. There was no accommodation, there was no job, there was nothing. Now, then comes this government scheme, which is Prime Minister's Yojana, जिसके अंदर आपको job दिया जाएगा, but condition was put there. What was the condition? Is you go back in the beginning for 6 months on the ad hoc basis, you will be there. The salary will be given by the central government. And after that, you will come under the ambit of state government. They will provide you the accommodation. Before they provide you the accommodation, we will be giving you a safe place to live. So again, आवास योजना के अंदर कुछ घर build होंगे, उनमें आपको security के अंदर आपको रखा जाएगा. That was stated, and they took an undertaking, an affidavit from all the people who went there that this will happen, and then all the facilities, your promotions, everything will go as per the state rules, whatever is there. But recently, after the killing, even a mass resignation was done by the Kashmiri Pandits who were there. The resignation was not taken. The government, BJP representatives were there. They said, if you want to live, live, otherwise jaake maro. This is on record, Payal. You will see many videos of this which are available. And the same people, when the governor was called and they said like they're scared for their life, they said you have to serve because you have signed a bond. But the same bond also stated that after 6 months you will be on the payroll of the state. That was not fulfilled. So that contract was immediately cancelled and new rules with the new regulations were passed. From last 100 days, Kashmiris and Hindus, I'm not talking about Kashmiri Pandits only, I'm talking about the Hindus after abolition of 370, they are living there, they want to leave. Few of them have not been paid from last 6 months. They're without pays. And rest of them who want to leave and they have signed, they have given the resignation, they're not allowed to. you will not believe police people are calling each individual and asking them that they cannot leave the house. And BJP is saying, oh no, you cannot do it because they have to save their face. See, security is very important for anyone. And right to life is the first thing which should come in mind of any person. You cannot make us a fodder for these people because you have to implement your policy.
सोनिया, आप मुझे एक बात बताओ, उन्होंने क्या बीजेपी ने ये बोला है कि अगर आप वापस आए तो आपकी जॉब्स ले ली जाएंगी या आपकी फैसिलिटीज ले जाएंगी? क्या have Kashmiri Pandits been threatened after being getting killed in Kashmir, like कहीं शोपिया में तो कहीं पुलवा कहीं
जी पायल जी, सिर्फ उनको तो आधे लोगों को तो बिना पे के भेज दिया है और उन बाकी लोगों को वो लोग निकलने ही नहीं दे रहे। आप थ्रेटन तो छोड़ दीजिए, आपको एक तरह से हाउस अरेस्ट में रखा गया है, तो वो लोग कैसे कुछ भी कर पाएंगे? उनकी प्रमोशंस पिछले 3 साल से ब्लॉक हैं, कुछ हो ही नहीं रहा है क्योंकि जो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट है वो उनको लेना नहीं चाहता अपना पेरोल पे, सेंटर कुछ करता नहीं है, यूनियन टेरिटरी हो गई है, बट बोथ ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट्स दे आर प्लेइंग विद दीस पीपल। और इनको लगा था 370 हटाने के बाद ये लोग कमाल कर देंगे, बट ग्राउंड लेवल पे कुछ नहीं हुआ। वहां पे आज भी हिंदू मरता है। और 15 अगस्त को पायल जी वहां इंडियन झंडे लगाए गए थे, आधे घंटे में सारे झंडे उठा के जला दिए थे इन लोगों ने।
नहीं, और साथ में क्या मैं ये देख रही थी कि कह रहे देखो इस स्कूल में भी लग रहा है वो स्कूल वाले झंडे इसलिए लहरा रहे थे, गवर्नमेंट के डर से लहरा रहे थे, अरेस्ट होने के डर से लहरा रहे थे, कोई दिल से लहरा नहीं रहे थे।
जी बिल्कुल पायल जी, और मैं आपको ये पूरी अथॉरिटी के साथ बोलती हूँ, हर सेकंड घर में वहां पे टेररिस्ट है, लेटेस्ट वेपन्स यूज किए जाते हैं। अब तो ड्रोन से पिस्टल्स आती है मारने के लिए। पहले तो ये लोग वेपन्स ऐसे यूज करते थे जो AK-47 हो गया ऐसा, अब ये लोग मॉडर्न पिस्टल्स जो यूएस आर्मी वगैरह यूज करते हैं वो यूज करते हैं, बिकॉज वो ड्रोन से आ रही है। हमारी सरकार ने इस पे रिपोर्ट प्रेजेंट की थी, पूरी न्यूज़पेपर में थी, बट कितने लोग इसके बारे में बात किए? किसी ने बात नहीं किया, क्योंकि हिंदू यहाँ भी मरे, बंगाल में भी मरे, वो केरला में भी मरे, मरने दो, इनको कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा। बट वाई अस, हम लोग ही क्यों मरे? आप लोग भी कुछ कीजिए ना। हमारे नाम पे तो आप वोट लेके आए हैं, और वो वहां पे हमारा उनको लीडर बना दिया मिस्टर रायना को। वो तो उन्होंने बांसुरी छोड़ के कुरान उठा लिया अपने हाथ में।
हाँ, वो तो कह रहे हैं नबी का नहीं, वो किसी का नहीं।
एग्जैक्टली, तो हम लोग कहाँ जाएं फिर? Where should we go?
Sameer, Behami, what would you say about this whole thing which Sonia explained it to you? Because this also covers an aspect of Hindus only. Because I wanted to basically talk about Hindus and BJP's attitude towards Hindus.
I think the attitude shift is very evident from the recent appointment of what is that IS guy who became cultural minister from Kashmir. He was anti-India for a long time.
Shah Faisal.
Shah Faisal. From appointment of Shah Faisal, there is definitely a shift. Why can't they represent a minority from Kashmir, a Kashmiri Pandit, because they are minority, regional minority there, and then also they can bring it up outside India that they are empowering minorities. BJP did play certain cards wrong in that sense, because now they got 370 scrapped, but the people who were tormenting and persecuting Hindus, they're still there. They are part of the whole administration, whole system, channels, whole system. They should have ripped it apart top to bottom and then created something that is having nationalistic. 370 is just adding. It is just like you have a small hut and outside you write Raj Mahal. That doesn't make it Raj Mahal. You have to make works over there, right? 370 in a way feels like they have just stamped something and nothing, because 370 should be synonymous to dismantling the whole system which did that persecution on Hindus. See, ISI and other people came in and they persecuted Kashmiri Pandits. Suppose we go with the most far-fetched thing and say that all Kashmiri Muslims are not like that and they are great. Still the system failed them, right? Same system, because if ISI is coming in and persecuting citizens of India, the system should support them and protect them. That system failed blatantly. Now after 370 got removed, still that system is in place. How it is going to change the mindset? Then on top of it, I think Hindus have been persecuted in this country for such a long time and still persecuted by the state. They should learn from other persecuted communities, and that comes to mind is Jews. Like there are people who deny the persecution of Kashmiri Pandits in India. Jews brought a law on Holocaust denials. What is stopping government from doing that? Because it is part of history, right? It is part of it. If they will let these people cast aspersions that this didn't happen, the world will believe this didn't happen. Why people still raise allegedly? They call allegedly. Nobody calls it allegedly for Holocaust. Nobody calls it. They say it happened. It was done by the Nazi Germany. And similarly, when Kashmir Files movie comes up, there are people who are outside without any consequences telling that this didn't happen. They are denying the right, these people's history, like, their story to be told. They are denying it, and they are saying that it was wrong, that it didn't happen. So first step towards it is a legal procedure to protect people from being, from abusing that community further. And that is through like making it like, some law where they cannot deny this kind of persecution. It is well documented. It is there. People had camps in Delhi. They lived there. People moved to Jammu. There were murders and killings going on there. That is a fact, and that cannot be taken away from Kashmiri Pandits. Once that comes in, then people start sympathizing, empathizing with them. And then when things happen, things start taking its shape. At this moment, people think that Kashmiri Pandits have a fake story put on by BJP media. See, BJP is not getting credit for anything out of this. What is happening? People think that BJP media is portraying Kashmiris as victim, Pandits as victim, to get vote. What is happening? The people who have not voted for BJP, and they can be to be voters for BJP, they feel the same, that they feel that this is a concocted story about it and BJP is some evil party. They don't understand that after all this doings, they are not getting benefit out of it. They are blamed for being communal. They are blamed for being tyrannical. They are blamed for all this stuff, and they are just doing opposite.
One point I would like to add here. What we are asking for is to declare it as a genocide at the first. Then there was a protection bill, a rehabilitation and protection bill, which was supposed to be implemented by the government. That never happened because they couldn't cross the first stage. And as you said rightly right now, there should be a way where judiciary and the constitution should come into picture and play a role. But they have failed us already. Now, when Kashmir File came out, BJP propagated it as if they are doing something great for Kashmiri Pandits, but in reality, they have failed miserably. They could not give even the basic facility like protection. So I don't know, and I don't see BJP as a party which will protect me. So there it fails again.
आज की जो हमारी कॉन्वर्सेशन हुई ना, उससे मुझे एक चीज जो मैं कंक्लूजन पे पहुंची हूँ एज वी एंड द मीटिंग, मैं इस कंक्लूजन पे पहुंची हूँ कि एक तो लाइक व्हाट समीर सेड एंड माया सेड कि ये टॉप टू बॉटम से चेंज नहीं आना, ये बॉटम टू टॉप चेंज आना चाहिए। हिंदूज को अब नीचे से ही अब हमें ये काम करना पड़ेगा हिंदूज के लिए। और हिंदूज अकेले हैं इस, ना लेजिस्लेचर, ना एग्जीक्यूटिव, ना जुडिशरी हिंदूज के साथ है। ये भी हमें, ये एक हार्श रियलिटी है जो हम लोग एक्सेप्ट नहीं करते, हम फिर थोड़ा सा डावाडोल हो जाते हैं। ये एक्सेप्ट कर लो ये बात, और साथ में हमें अपने जो हमारे पे एट्रोसिटीज हुई हैं, जो हमारा जेनोसाइड हुआ है, उसके बारे में हमें लोगों को बताना है विद फैक्ट्स, विद कन्विक्शन बताना है। जब तक अब हम वो नहीं कर पाएंगे तो वही जो फेंस सिटर्स हैं, जो हिंदूज ही हैं, जो हमको बहुत ज्यादा क्रिटिसाइज करते हैं या बोल देते हैं स्टॉप प्रोपेगेंडा, स्टॉपिंग कम्युनल, ये टैग्स मेरे को तो बहुत सारे लगे। मेरे को तो ऐसे ऐसे टैग्स लगे एज इफ आई एम सम सम हिंदू टेररिस्ट टाइप ऑफ अ टैग भी लग चुका है मुझे कि हिंदू को यू हैव दिस एटीट्यूड वे यू आर टेरराइजिंग अदर कम्युनिटीज एंड ऑल दैट। तो बेस से शुरू करना पड़ेगा और हम लोग ऐसी वीडियोस बनाते रहेंगे। चाहे हमने इतनी रात को, वेरी स्वीट ऑफ यू कि मैंने आप लोगों को 12:30-1 बजे बोला कि चलो आ जाओ, क्योंकि इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि जब हमें लगे कि हमारे अंदर अभी वो जोश है, उसी टाइम हमें एक वीडियोस बनानी चाहिए, सो दैट वो अब दिल से फिर बातें बाहर निकलती हैं। सो नाउ वील एंड हियर, बट एक वन कमेंट फ्रॉम समीर, वन फ्रॉम डियर एंड वन फ्रॉम
एक चीज ऐड करूंगा, जो हम we all voted BJP, we will vote for BJP. The point here is we don't want others to not vote for BJP and search for alternatives. And that's why this course correction is needed. Every time people are coming out because they care. If they didn't care, they'll just go and vote for Congress. Why didn't during Congress this kind of meetups and other things were happening? That Congress was worried that their supporter base is going away. People didn't, because they saw BJP as an alternative and they voted for them. We don't see Congress as an alternative, and we are scared that lot of people will see that, and that's why this course correction is needed. Every time there is a political party involved, the supporters are their moral compass. Supporters, the voters, not leadership. Leadership take decisions what supporters want. Supporters are the moral compass, and we are trying to act as one. That if the party has gone astray, there is issues and deficiency in their system, they should fix it so that the benefits reaches to the people what are intended. We are trying to do that.
बिंगो। समीर, आप क्या कहेंगे?
Well, I think दो चीजें कहूंगा. First of all, I think in terms of what BJP is trying to carve out its path of nationalism, the fundamental mistake which BJP is making is that they are looking at nationalism in its own siloed form. In India, essentially, nationalism is about Sanatan, because given a chance, given a choice, and history has already shown that किसी और religious group को अगर अपना करने को मिले, first thing they do is they carve out a separate country out of India. It's already happened with us. So that's a fundamental mistake which BJP is going to make, that instead of going on Sanatan lines, it's going to go on nationalistic lines. I think that might push BJP into a dark alley. और दूसरा बस एक ही लाइन बोलूंगा, एक 50s में गाना आया था एक, ना राजा रहेगा ना रानी रहेगी, ये माटी सभी की कहानी कहेगी. It's a beautiful song. भारत की एक्चुअली कहानी भी यही है, क्योंकि हमारी हिस्ट्री को तो किताबों में डिस्टॉर्ट कर देते हैं, लेकिन जो हमारे मंदिरों के अंदर जो पत्थर हैं, जो हमारी माटी है, वो सारी कहानी को हिल देती है. और मोदी जी, आप आज सनातन की होप हो, कल हो सकता है ना हो. जब तक हो तब तक सनातन के लिए, अपने कोर वोट बैंक के लिए कुछ करो. आप फेल कर रहे हो कई पॉइंट्स पर, इसीलिए हम लोग उठा रहे हैं, नहीं तो हमें जरूरत नहीं थी उठाने की.
सोनिया, आप क्या कहेंगे? एंड योर लास्ट फिनाले
comment. मोदी जी वैल्यू योर वोटर्स, और आप अपने आप को प्रधान सेवक बोलते हैं, तो देश की आवाज भी सुनिए, जनता की आवाज भी सुनिए, हिंदुओं की आवाज भी सुनिए, और अपीसमेंट पॉलिटिक्स करना बंद कीजिए. दैट्स ऑल. पायल,
थैंक यू वेरी मच. जय श्री